What I'd like to do without further ado, we're really excited to have him join us this evening. Make sure you have your pens or pencils and paperwork so you can take incredible notes. Our brother from another mother, Mr. Craig Buchanan, are you on, sir?
I am. Can you hear me?
Absolutely.
All right. Great evening, ladies and gentlemen. And I just want to say I missed last week, so I hope you had time to get caught up on all your readings. I did miss for a great purpose. The whole summer I've been traveling back and forth from Virginia to Cooperstown, New York, the birthplace of baseball. And my son was playing in tournaments up there. And last Thursday night at 9 o'clock, when I was supposed to be getting on here, we were in the 7th inning of the championship game. My pitcher threw a wild pitch, tied the ball game up 6-6, and we had to go into the bottom of the 6th inning, which we ended up winning the whole tournament, first place out of 104 teams up there, and the facility was 60. So we battled all the way back on Thursday after playing 12 games in 5 days. So that was a valid reason for me not to be on the call last Thursday night. But with that being said, we're hitting the Power 15 this week. I'm absolutely excited to be back in flow. And the readings for today is going to be from our great mentor, Robert Kiyosaki. And I want you to understand today's readings is going to be the Rich Dad's Cash Flow Quadrant and the Guide to Financial Freedom. Okay? And what we got here is Kiyosaki is very, very in tune. If you read other books, we've talked like early last year, we talked about Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And really one of the biggest things is he uses a quadrant where it's 4 areas, EBSI, that he has in the quadrant. And, you know, as you take a look at the Rich Dad's cash flow, the quadrant reveals how some people work less, earn more, pay less in taxes, and learn to become financially free. And you got to ask yourself, have you ever asked yourself, why do some investors make money with little risk, while most other investors just break even? Ask yourself, why do employees go to job while others quit their job and go on to build business empires? What does the shift from the industrial age to the informational age mean to me and my family? You got to be asking yourself, how can I use this change to my best advantage and chart my path to financial freedom? And when you take a look at that, you can see the cash flow quadrant was written for you if you are ready, okay? You have to be ready to move beyond job security and begin to find your own world of financial freedom. You have to make significant changes in your life. You have to take control of your financial future. So the main reason people struggle financially is because they have spent years in school, but they learn nothing about money. It's just, I mean, it's crazy right now how much we waste time. You're going into the economic programs in schools, and they're still teaching you how to balance a checkbook. My kids are 12, 13, and 15. They don't balance a checkbook. They swipe their debit card. They get paid through allowances through their bank accounts. You have to be up with what's going on in technology here. But they never learn to have money work for them. And that's why Kiyosaki definitely breaks down that quadrant, cash flow. And that's what I want each and every one of you guys to do over the next week is go read the book. You'll understand the cash flow of what's going on. You'll understand, you know, what it is. You gotta, I tell you all the time, you gotta become uncomfortable to be comfortable. You can't sit there and continue to do every week what you've been doing. You can get up and go to your 9 to 5, you're just over broke, and you'll never obtain your MBA, a massive bank account. The problem is you can't have both. You can't be sitting there helping to build somebody else's dream, and then by the time you get home at night, you have no energy to build your own dream. You see what I'm saying? You go to work, and you got to think, half of you go to work and work an 8-hour job, and you commute, whether if you're in the city, you're getting up 2-3 hours prior. You're driving your car to get to your job. Then you put a full 8 in, come back and commute, and then you got to do the regular world stuff at the house, pick up, clean, eat, all this other stuff. If you got kids, do homework. It's damn near 9 o'clock. Now you're being asked to come on calls with the community. When do you have time to build your own? Well, you have to become uncomfortable to get comfortable, okay? So you'll understand. That's why you got to ask yourself, if I want to be financially free, if I want time freedom, you have to create it, okay? And so when you're starting to look, you got to take those steps. You got to visualize. When's the day you're going to quit your job to build your own empire? Put it out there. Don't say tomorrow I'm going to start my diet. Oh, or Monday. Everything, you know, that used to be my slogan. Oh, Monday, Monday, Monday. I'm going to do it Monday. I'm going to do it Monday. Monday came and I kept doing the same routine. Oh, Monday. Oh, Monday. You have to get into what it is that you're trying to do. Okay? And this book, now, this is the season right now. We're coming out of the August month, okay? July, August, and September. And as you go into the next quarter, that's the educational quarter, okay? And you see, we are gearing our program, our community, to follow the steps, right? As you start to see what we're doing, we're opening up to the community educational portions where you can acquire the classes from Jennifer to learn. Okay, you got to put some skin. You got to invest into yourself. You got to invest into your knowledge. You got to invest into your blueprint. Nothing. If people are telling you something is free, they're absolutely wrong. Okay, you might get a free trial. Okay, but you always have to be growing each and every day. You can't sit around stagnant and wait for somebody else to build your dream. You got to go and it's that person. When you think you're good, there's somebody else out there better than you. It's just like in the sports world. You think, man, I'm hitting the ball. I can throw the ball. I'm pitching. I'm golfing. I'm boxing. I'm strong. But then as strong as you think you are, there's another kid in another town doing just as much as you and maybe 1 or 2 more hours. That's the same thing here. When you think, oh, man, I know what I'm doing in this credit world, no problem. You don't know this secret. You don't know this trick. You don't know how to do this. See, when you think you can do what John Allen's doing, you can't. Because you know why? When you're sleeping, he's creeping on the down low in his industry to learn the new stuff. When you're thinking about the business banking and the financial institution, and, oh, man, I know what Craig's doing. I'm going to try to do what Craig's doing. Well, you can keep trying. But, see, some of you like your beauty sleep too much. You're not going to study as much as I do. You're not going to sacrifice 23 hours a day to learn to be able to have that financial freedom and that time freedom. But you know what? That 1 or 2 that does, I welcome them a seat at the table. Because then you'll have those like-minded individuals that are with me at the table. Now we can all share in the pieces of the pie. See, that's why you go to the shops, and most of the time you're going to get 6 or 8 pieces of pizza out of one pie, right? But we got a whole room of people that want to indulge in that pie. No problem. We have enough for everybody. But that supreme piece that's at the table, there's only 6 pieces. You got to work hard to get where you want to get. I didn't just wake up before the age of 30 and say, I'm going to be a liquid millionaire. I had to bust my ass to get where I am. But then after 10, 12 years, I was able to enjoy the fruits of my labor. Now I can get up and walk my kids to the school bus, take them in the car when I feel like it, pick them up every day at 2:20 at the student pickup, and go on and do things with them. And then when I'm done playing dad and doing the sports, now I get right back to building my empire, putting in work. See, I'm able to create my own. I get up early in the morning. I do my affirmation. I do my commitments. I do my prayer and meditation. From that point, I'm able to come down and do the breakfast and send the kids off right. Then when they're in school from 8 to 2, I got time to work on my business. And then from 2 to 7, I got time to play around with them. And then from 7 on, I go back to putting in some work. And then whatever time I decide to lay it down to get a little bit of rest, I get back and do it again. But see, my business, there's no office I have to go to. As long as I got a computer, car, a desk, a cell phone, I can be in the outfield of a ball field or on the beaches around the world and still conduct. You can day trade anywhere as long as you got your laptop or your smart device. You see what I'm saying? So when you take a look at it, the platform that we're putting together is a learning curve. You're coming into that quarter now for the next 120 days, you're gonna start to educate yourself. We're going out of the summer. All the kids are going back into school to learn. It's the same thing. You got your kids that graduated high school, now they're going on to further education. Well, we're doing the same thing. This is the third quadrant, the third quarter. We go into the third quarter so that we now are putting that maintenance phase on our quadrant. We're starting to educate ourselves. As you've been watching in the group me group, you're seeing a lot of stuff is happening. The banks are giving out money like crazy. Members in our community are having money. Now the conversations, I mean, last week, 2 weeks ago, you heard of the teachings that Deborah has had on these calls of how to check the cards, and now you're seeing the abundance of flow. The gates are open. Money's coming in. Now she's got money to invest in the trading platform, to go into the day trades, to be in any portion that they want to do and build them dreams, is because now the fruits of the labor coming. So now you got to educate yourself even more now. Okay, you're seeing what's going on. You're watching in the economy. We've been waiting on Trump to take the capital gains down from 38% to 15%. Okay, you got to understand, inside the credit world, as we've told you before, there's certain portions where when we're battling the credit reports, you know, the difference from having the collections agency call you and say, you know, we're willing to take this $15,000 debt that you have on your portfolio and you pay a settlement of $3,000, penny on the dollars, and we'll write it off in full. No, we don't want to write off in full. We want that to disappear. And that's all in the negotiation portion. These are types of things that our community puts together to help you guys, but you got to follow the STEP program. Okay? You got to get hungry. When you read the book of this week's readings, you will definitely figure out. You got to ask yourself those questions. Am I content doing what I am? If you are, so be it. Just keep coming to these calls just to listen for some motivation and don't take action. But if you're serious about reaching the millionaire status, changing your life in any way, see, major change can be simply that you was able to increase your score to 620. You had a 5-something. You got up to a 620, and you was able to walk into a car dealership and get a car for your family, an upgraded car, something new just with Bluetooth in the car and Pandora radio, trading in your old. That's a major accomplishment for some people, getting into a 15, 16, 17 car that you had a 07, 08, 09, okay? If you're looking at getting into a starter home, a condo, a townhome, something like this, $150,000, $200,000, $250,000 house, you don't have to jump into the $1 million house right away. You can take baby steps. Get out of the apartment and get into real estate. Own your own. Have a tax break. Right now, if you're not taking advantage of tax breaks, you're walking into any H&R block to do your taxes at the end of the year as an individual and getting 4 breaks. That's it. You're getting your charitable write-off. You're giving your contribution to your church, right? You're getting your children, and you're only getting 4 breaks. Now, if you have your business, there's 144 tax breaks that you're able to receive by having an LLC in your own business. That's why we're telling you, being personal and business credit worthy. Add the real estate to your component, and you'll see the 900s. Some of you never even knew there was 950 on a FICO score because you've only heard of, I got a 780. No, 800 is sovereign in your own right. 900, you're on a whole nother planet. And I have documentation that beats conversation all day that a year ago I was sitting at a 906, okay? And I use these processes that we have inside of this program. Be on top, utilize your stuff, go through the maintenance, go through purchasing different programs, buying new stuff, having yourself set. And so you have to look at that to where you want to be. The biggest thing that I'm going to leave you with is we're constantly talking about, like right now, each and every day you have I think they're on day 84 or something like that, where Mr. C has been a pillar of this community, setting the website, doing the affirmations every morning. If you don't think he's leading from the front, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, West Coast time, he's up and doing whatever he has to do for the community to set the tone. And then the rest of you coming out. When you're following a path like that, when the negativity is out of your voice, stop watching the wasted sitcoms. Now, granted, I'm one of them guys. I don't really watch a whole bunch of TV, and then I'll do like a binge day where I'm just like tired and stay at the house, whatever. That's fine. But to every day sit in front of a tube for 3 and 4 hours, okay? Utilize that time to grow your portfolio and build on your business. And the negativity is not there. Your affirmation is being spoken through words. If you want the $5,000 to trade, if you want to qualify within the community, if you're looking for $1,350,000, if you're looking to be in a day trade program where you're authorizing yourself 2 to 3 hours to day trade a day to make the type of money that you're looking for, I mean, you're talking 52 weeks, 2 to 3 hours a day, 1 to 4 days. I mean, you're talking the possibility for day trading and looking at a salary from possibly $75,000 to $125,000. That's the ranges that day traders are making. I mean, of course, some make less, but that's on a scale. Now, if you want to be a superstar and you want to trade more and you want to learn, and the better you become, the more money you're going to make. So I challenge each and every one of you to continue your affirmation. Go read this book by Robert Kiyosaki this week. It's going to be an eye-opener. And if you've read it before, read it again. But what you want to do is close your eyes before you read the book. And I want you to speak to your higher being and say, open up my eyes to see, my ears to hear, and my mind to be clear to receive what it is that I'm supposed to read in this particular text reading, to let it absorb, okay, in a different manner than you ever read it before. So now that you've been going through the trainings and you've been reading books and books and books each and every week, let it absorb in a different way. Look at that quadrant in a different way. Look at the effects of how you want to be the employer, the employee, how you want to be the investor and the investor. Okay? And then let it dissect, and then we'll break it down. And next week on the call, we can open up for a few questions to dissect that quadrant, because right now is the most critical time of the 4 seasons. This is your educational season we're going into. You have to absorb more knowledge. See, reading is fundamental, and knowledge is power. And I tell you, in this quarter is where you get it more than any other time, because this is when you go back into education season. You want to absorb what you can to go for the next quarter to be able to make, not gamble on your investments, not hope that they are successful. You want to make calculated decisions, not risks, because you have worked too hard to fix your credit, too hard to fix your portfolio, too much time to not set your path by making proper, calculated decisions. If not you, then who? If not now, then when? Back to you, Mr. C.
Continue education, continue motivation. We have to appreciate what this man is giving us. It's congruent to the next step, having an opportunity to accumulate wealth. So go read the book. Educate yourself in the day trading and the option trading and everything that Jennifer is feeding, but also listen to what Craig is saying, because it's congruent to the time. Welcome, family, to the next level of wealth. I'd like to introduce one of our educators, Ms. Jennifer Glick. Are you on?
Yes, sir, I am here. Thank you so much. Well, I just want to powerful call, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here. I really do. I think the gentlemen on this call are outstanding. So let me try to do my part. Okay. So last week, the last couple of weeks, we've been discussing P&F charting. There's more to it, and if you take time to go on stockcharts.com and go to the education link, you'll learn more. You'll be able to learn more about P&F charting. Now, we're going to cover it in the future, but I think today is an important day, or this call is an important call, to just sort of go over the newsletter LOD service as well as the day trading program. It's just like the last little bit of info before moving forward. before doing that. When you go to look at the PNF charting, one of the main things on these charts is what's called a new buy signal or a new sell signal. When you go to stockcharts.com, take a look at the free education under the PNF charting section, and the new buy signals and new sell signals are what we want to look at if we are investing in the long term, like a stock investor, or the intermediate term, which could be someone who invests stocks quarterly, or not just stocks, but options as well. If you do quarterly investing and then you want to rebalance your portfolio every quarter, you want to pay attention to the new buy signals and the new sell signals. On the near term that we showed last week, the near term time period, we give more attention to the column changes. So are we in a column of X's? Well, that would mean the stock market's going up. We're in a bull trend at that point. If the column switches to a column of O's, then we know the markets are going down and we are in a bearish trend during that short-term time period. So all of this is covered and that's just a little additional reading that can be done, and we will certainly cover it in full in the near future. Also, I wanted to mention a book. I've held back on books because in trading, people will run out and just buy whatever books they can at Barnes & Nobles or off of Amazon, not knowing that they're spending a lot of money, number one, and maybe spending money on the wrong thing, because you could be buying a book that simply talks about a strategy that one type of investor does. Or you could buy a book on futures options, and that has nothing to do with what we are doing as equity option traders. I just don't want people to get confused, but at this point, we are going into, the education mode of the program, and we're going to start talking about, these charts. We're going to talk about, and not only talk about, we will be investing in cover calls in our newsletter service. This is a very conservative strategy, and, I want you to learn as much as you can about it. You can go on Amazon.com and look up a book. The title is Ultimate Covered Call Book, and the author is John Brasher, B-R-A-S-H-E-R, John Brasher. Ultimate Covered Call Book. Achieve consistent monthly returns with conservative limited risk strategies. Now, this person, John Brasher, he's a former partner of mine. We had a business together. He went through a lot of things putting together this cover call book. We would sit for hours and talk about it. So that's the book when it comes to covered calls. I would definitely want that book. It's priced around anywhere between $75 and $80 on Amazon. It comes with a CD, and that's a book that somebody who wants to, you can invest $50,000 in one position, doing a cover call. So large amounts of money can be invested in cover calls because they are a low-risk strategy. So this is something that, even if you had $1 million account, definitely you want to take advantage of cover calls. So that is a book. I know people want to have a book to look at. It's like an encyclopedia, but it's well-written, clearly stated, and everyone will be able to follow along if you just, start at the first page and then build on the knowledge as you go throughout. All right, so I can't say enough about that book. That's like my top secret, my favorite book when it comes to cover calls. It is just thorough. It's amazing, full of knowledge. So, and I say that also in honor of him. He was a great guy. We did a lot of business together. And, well, all right, so moving on. We are entering the phase of beginning to start our newsletter service in LOD. So I'm very excited about that for everyone. Now we're going to begin with the $5,000, and typically we can expect to enter one contract doing a cover call. Well, what does that mean? So let me quickly just explain what one contract is. When we go to enter a cover call, what we're doing is we're going to first buy the stock. And we have to buy 100 shares. That's the minimum amount we have to buy, because 100 shares equals one option contract. So if we're just going to get a minimum of one option contract, we have to buy at least 100 shares of stock. All right, so with a $5,000 account, we have to do the math. Really, we can afford about a stock up to $40. And we don't typically go much lower than a $15 to $20 stocks. So we're really stuck in the range of say, a good healthy stock would be between $20 and $40. So if it was the $40 stock that we're going to purchase, we have to buy 100 shares. How much money is that we'll be spending? So $40 times 100 shares. That's $4,000 for one option contract that we will own. Okay? So when we spend the $4,000, we're entering one cover call. We're entering a cover call position with one option contract. We're buying the stock, and immediately we're turning around and we're selling an option and one option contract. With that, we receive money immediately. That's put into our account. So we know exactly how much money we're going to receive on that cover call position. Now we have to hold it until the third Friday of the month. So if we have let's see, this is August, so we'll have a September expiration. That would be the third Friday is the 15th of September. So we can get into a position anytime after the third Friday of this month, which is tomorrow. Tomorrow is options expiration. All right, so then that means next week we have the ability to start looking for a great cover call opportunity, right? If we find one, we can definitely get into one. If everybody is, of course, this is if everybody has been green-lighted, funded, and ready to go, because we want to do this as a group, okay? But we can certainly also look. We're not in a hurry. We're taking our time, and we're finding the right stock under $40 that looks like it's going to stay neutral or go up a bit over the next 30 days. And when we enter that, okay, our obligation then is to hold it until the third Friday of September, which is the 15th of September. We don't have to do a thing. We do nothing, and it will expire. That cover call will expire on the third Friday, and then our money will be free and available on Monday the 18th. So on the following Monday, our money should be available if everything goes properly. Our money will be available on Monday for us to do it again. And so that's how that will go. Now, if we'll either make a little bit more money when we close out the position, in other words, we get the option premium, that's the money we receive when we sell the option, at the time we enter the position. And then at the time we close the position, that stock may have gone up a few dollars. If it did, then we might make a little bit more money at the time that we close out that position. Also, if we're holding that stock when it has a dividends payout, we have the ability to capture that extra money as well. So we have the ability, we know what we're receiving from the premium of the option when we enter it, but when we close it out, we may make just a little bit more money or just a little bit less money than the money we received when we entered the position. So, that's what tends to happen, and then it automatically, will be freed up to do it again on Monday. Now, the only downside is if something happens, the markets go down tremendously, and this particular stock goes down. Okay, then we may have to hold it and turn around and sell more options. On Monday, we would sell more options against it, bringing in more income, additional income, and then we can do that, month to month until the stock either pulls back up or we become flat or we are in profit again to close it out. So that's how cover calls are done, and that's why they're low risk because, there's different ways to manage it. If it goes against us, we just hold the stock and continue to sell more options until we break even or make a little money to where we can sell the stock and move on to a new position. So that's kind of how a cover call works. That's what we will expect. And if the markets are getting a little too volatile where we're seeing more downside movements and see, support levels being broken and more downside moves, then what we'll do is put the cover calls on hold, and we'll start focusing on some long put options. Now, remember, these are, we're going to only put up to $500 per position on our long puts, but we will certainly be able to get multiple contracts with that. So we might be able to get 2 or 3 contracts of doing doing the long calls and puts. So I don't want to get too far into that. I really want you to know the mechanics, though, of a cover call, how that works, and know that count on the 3rd Friday of every month is options expiration, and then the following Monday, that's when we'll start looking for a new cover call position. So I'm excited to get the newsletter rolling. When you receive one in your email box, most likely you're already in the position because your broker is going to get the information and execute the positions immediately. All right, so that covers the newsletter service. Let's go into the day trading program, and so that is something that's going to begin here real soon as well. Everybody is enrolled. Now, next week, the trader who is going to do the training wants to reach out and, just make personal contact with each individual who has signed up and just to, get to know you on a personal level before the actual first day of training. So you can expect that, and he's a pretty nice guy. He's from up north, has an accent, so he's around all the different financial firms and traders, and he's been doing this for years. So he's a good teacher, and he'll give you all the documentation that you need before. You'll get an email, and you'll have info that you need to do a little homework before the first day. So, it's just basically going online, doing a Google search on a few different little stock patterns and things like that. So it'll be in the email that you'll get. So just expect that sometime next week you will have a phone call from him and ask him any questions that you may have. And certainly you can always ask Mr. C or myself any questions that you may have going into this. So, well, with that said, Mr. C, I will turn the call back over to you. I look forward to going into the next season here and getting our feet wet with these investment programs. So back to you.
Excellent, excellent. Well, folks, once again, the excitement is in the air. As you know, our cause is to empower communities of all races and financial backgrounds for personal growth, financial education, and wealth creation. Also, it is a division within our infrastructure, which is Black Wall Street Traders. And be prepared to make history. We thank Mr. Buchanan and we thank Ms. Click for incredible information once again. And be blessed, and we'll see you at the top.